The village was in trouble. The rain had stopped for months, and the crops withered in the relentless sun. The river, once full of clear water, was now a dry bed of cracked stones. The air was heavy with dust, and hunger gnawed at the people's hearts. Frightened and weary, they gathered in small groups, their voices low with fear. Joran, the village blacksmith, remained calm. He had seen hard times before. His hands, worn and scarred from years of labor, were steady as he worked at his forge. The villagers respected him, not only for his skill, but for his wisdom. When their courage faltered, they turned to him for guidance. One evening, a group of villagers, including young Elias, came to Joran's workshop. "Joran," they pleaded, "the rain will not come. Our crops are dying, and the wells are dry. What can we do? We are losing everything." Joran paused, wiping his hands on his leather apron. "Come back tomorrow morning," he said gently. "I have something to show you." The next morning, as the sun rose pale and weak over the dry fields, the villagers gathered outside Joran's forge. A heavy silence hung in the air. Joran welcomed them inside and pointed to a long, iron rod lying on his worktable. "This," he said, holding the rod in his strong, calloused hands, "is like life. Watch closely." He placed the iron into the roaring flames of his forge. The fire blazed fiercely, and the villagers could feel its heat on their faces. They watched as the iron turned red, then orange, glowing brightly. "When life gets hard," Joran explained, "it feels like this. It feels as though we are in the fire, burning with fear and sorrow. But fire does not destroy iron. It softens it so it can be shaped." He pulled the glowing iron from the flames and placed it on the anvil. Sparks danced and crackled as he raised his hammer. With measured, deliberate strokes, he began to strike the iron. Each blow rang out, clear and sharp. "This hammer is like hope," Joran said. "Even when life feels broken, hope can shape us into something stronger. Each strike may seem painful, but it gives us form and purpose." Elias, his brow furrowed, raised a hesitant hand. "But what if the iron breaks?" Joran smiled kindly. He held up the iron, now a smooth, strong blade. "If the iron breaks, we melt it down and start again. It is never the end, as long as we do not give up. The forge of life allows us to rebuild, no matter how many times we fall." The villagers nodded thoughtfully. The glow of understanding began to replace the shadows of despair. Over the next days, Joran taught them more. He showed them how each tool in his forge had a purpose. The hammer, the anvil, the fire, they all work together to shape the iron. None can do the work alone. We must do the same. We must unite, each doing our part, to survive this drought. The villagers took his words to heart. They began to work as a team. Elias led a group to dig deeper wells, refusing to stop even when their hands bled. Others shared their remaining food and devised new ways to plant seeds that needed little water. They patched up their roofs to catch dew and built channels to direct whatever little moisture they could find to their fields. Slowly, inch by inch, life began to return. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, a dark cloud gathered in the distance. A cool wind whispered through the village, carrying with it the scent of rain. Thunder rumbled, and soon, fat drops splattered onto the dry ground. The villagers danced in joy as the rain poured down, soaking the earth and reviving their spirits. In the days that followed, the crops grew green and strong, and the river filled once more. But something greater had taken root in the hearts of the people, a lesson they would never forget. Elias returned to Joran's forge. "Thank you," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "You taught us how to survive, but more importantly, you showed us how to hope." Joran smiled, his eyes twinkling like embers. "The fire tested you, but you did not give up. Hard times are not the end. They are a chance to grow stronger. Remember this, and you will always find a way forward." And so, whenever the villagers faced hardship, they would remember the blacksmith's lesson. Hope, like a hammer, forges strength. Unity, like tools working together, shapes a brighter future.